a tremendous amount. You're talking about good race drivers that never get the opportunity, and the ones that do, you know, in to stay in the sport is really difficult because it's very competitive. But when I was extremely young, my father, which everyone assumes that the fellow that won this Indianapolis Motor Speedway is my father. He was maybe almost old enough to be my father, but he wasn't. So my father was an excellent mechanic. He's from Oklahoma, near Woodward, Oklahoma, and he was a real good mechanic. So as the Ruttman family grew up, I wasn't with them initially, but they moved first to Texas, and my mom kind of engineered it, and they moved on to California because things were really happening out in California. So along come Troy, and my dad, again, the car he drove back and forth to his work was an old Model A, and somehow Troy found out about a race. He was like, no one really knows because he lied about his age so much that, I don't know, he was like 13, 14 years old, and Ash Can Derby was the first place he went to with this old, Model A of my father's.
Wow.
Took a paintbrush, put number 4 on the side and run it. Won like $10 or 12 or something like that. And he comes back and he's all pumped up, to tell the family, Well, it didn't go over real good with my dad. Now my mom, that's her son. So it was a big deal. But Dad's going, called her Mary. He says, Mary, this kid took the car out and raced it, and that's my car I go back and forth to work in. So, so
that's amazing.
That kind of, it didn't make him real happy. So she says, look, that's my son, you be the mechanic if you need to build him another car. So the bottom line was that my father was a mechanic, built the cars initially that he started in the family, which we went to all the races in Southern California. In other words, they raced at one time, probably at least 4 nights a week, sometimes 5.
Amazing.
And he went from jalopies to roadsters to, we're talking a long time, midgets, sprint cars, stock cars, and all that sort of thing. So where I was lucky, they took me along. So I was a fan and really enjoyed it. But it's kind of like when you're around New Mexico and you hear the name Unser. That's all the boys. And Troy used to talk about Jerry Unser more than Bobby and Al even.
Wow.
But he was apparently killed in an accident earlier. I never did get filled in completely. But Troy was kind of like that, but he was a one-man band. So my father, was always the crew chief, and he got himself in ultimate equipment, great mechanic, and so he could win quite a bit. And so each progression that he made was he got lucky, get always some good equipment, and having my dad work on it, 110%, behind him 110%. So the family, every race, just about, I went probably, 4 races a week in the season. So to accelerate the story now, where I come from, was I wanted to emulate my brother. So it's really easy, and here's the reason why, David, it's easy, is because I think it's like buying a racehorse. Owners look at drivers and, okay, maybe I can't get Troy, your brother, to drive it, but I got my hand up. I'll drive it. So I think they think that it's in the bloodline. Okay. Now I don't tell them any different, naturally, because I want to drive.
Absolutely.
So I was able to make that step really, really easy, far easier than the average guy could ever do it, because you're tied in to, if I was an Unser, and an owner come and I'm sure they didn't have to hustle for rides,
Right.
because they're known as drivers, I think. So I just looked into it. So that's what got me into racing. That's the only interest I had. I was too dumb to chase girls. I'm, I should have. But, that probably would have kept me out of a little trouble. But, or maybe got me into more trouble.
More
I don't
trouble.
know.
That's right.
Could have gone either way. But anyway, that's as fast as I could tell the story. And so I got lucky because there's, a lot of people assume, Dale Earnhardt, there's no question Dale was a tremendous race driver. There's a lot of Dale Earnhardts in the United States
Yes, sir.
that's never got an opportunity to drive in top-notch equipment in, either they run out of financing, sponsorship, whatever, but it just happens to be a sport like that.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, in most cases, until my brain got scrambled a little bit, I was able to keep myself in good cars with good crews, well financed. So that makes a big difference in how you end up